What's good, YouTube, and welcome to the house. We have a huge market watch for you guys today with a couple different pathings than our usual one, but we're going to start off with a huge sale from Tier 0, code What's Good 5 for 5% off, stacks on top of 15% off site-wide on everything that's in stock. This will not work on most pre-orders and a couple very few select items that are in stock, but look, Dual Devastator is something that I pushed them to stock heavy coming into this. They've been selling like hotcakes. You got Ash Blossom, you got Ghost Spell, you got Solemn Strike, and they have it marked down all the way to $35.19. And with code What's Good 5 for 5% off supporting the channel, that's $33.43. Other notable items, if you just want a quick list of what I've seen around, there's also huge end items, there's medium end, there's singles, there's all sorts of stuff. Well, the Legendary Dex one got rewaved in Europe again, not over here in NATCG, so they have those accessible with worldwide free shipping at just 50 pounds. Also, if you're new to the site, come up over here. You have US dollars, you have pounds, euros, Canadian, Australian. They ship a lot of freaking places. Then they also have those gold metal cards I like to collect. I prefer the gold versions over the gray metal because they are more limited, down to 5,000 each. So get yourself a gold-plated Blue Eyes here for cheap. And they also have a lot of really cool high-end playmats, but a medium-end playmat that really caught my attention, I almost went to buy it, and if you guys don't, I will, is the Zombie Horde Structure Deck mat at just $65 and then further discounted with the code. This looks so freaking awesome, and if you guys don't get this one, I'm gonna be getting that one for myself at the end of the sale. And finally, a ton of different foreign Starlights were listed here at really good prices. Look, Apollosa under 1,000, further discounted What's Good 5. You have also the Water Charmer, Wind Charmer down here in price versus what you could get it at. Really insane, excellent prices on high-end cards if you've been Starlight hunting, with a bit of a twist and flair if you want Italian or other kinds of languages. They have a lot of different options for you, and they've been waiting for this sale to put them on the site. That being said, let's get into today's Market Watch with sad vendor noises. We came across this on the live stream Wednesday. I just want to say, if you bought from this guy, give him a little break, because this is 90 Borreload Savages at 55 cents, 141 at 55 cents, 20 at 55. This is obviously a mislisting by whoever put that up. It actually affected the market price. It was down to $4 for a bit, came back up to 11, came back up to 15. Whoever ended up listing in the wrong SKU or one of their employees made a boo-boo. Man, that happens. We've seen it on Robbie's channel. We've seen it around, but this is by far the worst look I have seen on this in a long time, and don't negative feedback bomb the guy when he doesn't give you 140 Borreload Savages, guys. Next up, Gold Sarcophagus. Secret Rare sold out because Market Man, bad Market Man pointed it out. Everybody went for it. Well, actually, if you search Gold Sark, there's one that doesn't come up on the screen. And we've seen it with Nibiru token. If it's Primal Being token, people don't necessarily rush towards something they can't find easily. There's another Gold Sark, C, for the C Legendary deck, that is only $1 for a very nice looking Ultra Rare, where an Ultra Rare actually doesn't appear on here besides the prize cards that are sold out. So there's another cheap, nice looking Gold Sark that's selling relatively slowly, easily accessible for just $1.25 if you want the next nicest looking version after the Secret Rare and the Ancient Gold Rare that finally gave us the prize card. But yeah, definitely it pays to look around and kind of figure out what's on the market. Speaking of looking around, a lot of people have been pointing out that when I did my Should You Buy Grand Creators, the Inzektor card's in here, John. That could sell it like crazy. It could be insane. And it also could be much like those original Mayakashi cards and terrible TCG World Premieres that ended up in our March reprint set. So I'm not holding my breath for the Inzektor reprint here, but other people are spending their money on it. Cocoon of Ultra Evolution getting bought out once again for its original first ed printing. Ancient Millennium is very expensive sealed still, and you have the nice Secret Rare upgrade, kind of chilling just under $10, but that's because it does mix better with Inzektor rather than all of this, B Trooper hype we've been having. Let's look over at some other Weevil cards, and tons of the Inzektors have gone up in price, which has me thinking we get about 15 more cards in Grand Creators, and we already know one's the World Premiere card. What's the chances Konami doesn't put more Inzektors in here? And I think those would actually be bad selling collector rares as a whole, despite fond memories by some people with Inzektors. It's a somewhat complicated deck. from back in the day. It even had crazy loops, but people do remember it both fondly and unfondly, so I couldn't see necessarily collector rares of even Hornet selling up in that range where Skullmeister and Pankratops are, but I also could see them doing okay-ish. I just wouldn't be the most hyped for Inzektor reprints to be what Konami's going for instead of more generic cards and things around. But this fits into those $20 to $8 3 reprints. We sure are nice, huh? We got the set right this time, and I could see that happening. So, with all the speculation going around Inzektor cards, a ton of them are up in price for their nicer versions or even Hornet just down here. I would think it would be really weird if we didn't get Inzektor reprints with the World Premiere card, and that is something to think about if you have these cards, / that's still speculation, so make your own decisions. I don't have time traveling info brokers. I can't see the exact future, but with all the points brought up, think like Konami, and what typically happens when they hype something and the first sentence over here, I could definitely see it happening. Now, speaking of B-Troopers, we have an ultra-rare B-Trooper Scout Buggy buyout. Yay, it's back above the secret. These sneak peek promos have had some of the funniest buyouts of all time. We also see Ready Fusion surging even further up versus its market price, and people are really on this card. I said this before, I'll say it again. It doesn't hurt so bad here in the TCG because there's not a Max C falling on you, summoning a vanilla, and having to commit to another draw where you can't just stop like you could on other decks. So Ready Fusion here in the TCG is a much different card, especially with access to tuners and different vanillas for different decks, and we're already seeing that play an impact in certain decks, and a lot of hype is going into it as people explore their options, where the OCG just really chokes this card out. Now, speaking of B-Trooper hype, here's a card I didn't even know existed. I think I did in the back of my head, but it only has 2 printings, one being from a mega pack, so here's some money you might not know you had, and it reads, if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. It's a level 5 insect. Once per turn, increase the level of all insect type monsters by 1. So it has 2 interesting Esh effects, but it has to be only a starter, not really an extender, not really anything else in the future of your turn. So it's kind of like Junk Speeder or those kind of cards that throw them out of the hand initially rather than like an extender card like Kagamusha Knight, and those usually fall by the wayside as deck building happens. But let me know, if you're a B-Trooper player, what do you think of Primitive Butterfly? Are you playing it for that power access, or is it just kind of overhyped? I actually haven't seen it in action, so I don't know, just my initial reading of it. I think, well, that's more of a starter than any kind of extender. Godarla, we pointed, went up in price. Kaiju Slumber went up in price, and I forgot there's another insect kaiju, and it's going relatively crazy on the market as well. Kumongous, the sticky string. This went up back in the day because of its level 7 and low attack, being pendulum summonable in many different decks like, I believe, Metal Foes. And so when it comes down to this, now it's another insect kaiju for Kaiju Slumber, where Godarla gets more notice because it also outs the Wind Barrier statue that does appear in the Rogue / metagame. But here you do have Kaiju Slumber access with another insect, and there you have it. That's another one going up, and why Kaiju Slumber is most likely going up. Goki Pole only has 2 printings, and I'm actually shocked at how few quantities overall are here. And with the 2019 Mega Pack being so expensive sealed now, and a lot of people starting to go for it, I would think about getting this sooner than later as a little bit of a penny stonk. And speaking of penny stonks, I think Olimeros is highly likely to get some kind of reprint in the Megatins, but people have noted she is generic insect goodness. 2+ level 4 monsters. This card is unaffected by trap cards while it has an Xyz material, and you can only use the following effects once per turn. Detach 2 materials from this card, special summon a level 4 insect or plant monster. So she can act actually as a certain kind of extender or past play to recur something that you want to recur if it got negated on activation or something like that. And also, if an opponent's monster or monsters leave the field because of a card effect and is now in the graveyard or banished, except during the damage, you can detach a material from this card, target one of them, and special summon it to your field. So you also can set up certain plays and situations with awareness of the second effect, but it's mostly getting used for the first effect, I think, in its niche kind of uses. I don't think that would draw the Starlight up. I think people are still experimenting of it, but it is still of note that it's getting played elsewhere, extremely low on listings now, and I again would think it would be in the mega pack. And how many times have I said this? The mega packs are coming. Be aware. Let's take a different route and lesson on the mega packs today. So I've been telling you guys, oh, get rid of this card, or I would personally sell them if I had them. Instead, let's focus on a different path here. With Virtual World being now more budget than ever when it gets its mega pack reprints, we would assume like My Hime should get Lulu an upgrade, and we also have the rest of the cards, they should be getting reprinted notable in the meta. Well, then everybody's going to have access to this cheap, budget, good deck as a back pocket deck, aren't they? Everybody who wants it will have it cheap. So what do you look around for? 3, 2, 1. You got it. We look around for the other options. Zulkin is huge in this deck, and it's been surging, but it's actually down in the price. But a lot of people are going with Zulkin because it's also a Dark Dragon to mix with Muddy Mud Dragon, giving really accessible plays. We can see the OTS pack common is super low on listings, and it never got a Megatin reprint, being in Dark Neostorm. So when we look around, people are making Invoke Kaliga, which does have 2 different printings. The Ultra Rare readily accessible, but also the Secret Rare, which I could see becoming $5, is kind of a floodgate play to end on in Virtual World after Zulkin. Or they go for Red Eyes Dark Dragoon because Muddy Mud Dragon can replace one of the materials, so you also have a dragon effect monster where it will substitute itself for Dark Magician. Now, people are scared of Dragoon, banlist fears, that kind of stuff, but Kaliga's likely to stay around, and a lot of people call that the correct in board. People do argue on it, the resources versus this. How does this work? It also restricts you, but Muddy Mud Dragon giving you access to both of those cards. Think about the engines. This, once everybody has Virtual World and they want access to plays, they may go for Muddy Mud Dragon. They may go for Zulkin, which is still penny stonk-ish, but running out of quantities. And they may go for certain plays once they have access. So, I'm not saying rush out and buy these specific cards using my TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra. Support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying. But what I'm saying is look around, think what's getting reprinted, what works with these decks, and should I have it before everyone's scrambling for it, or is it worth people scrambling over if they get it? Be ahead of that crowd. Figure out what do you want. I'm not a financial advisor channel. I don't know your bankroll, what you can afford, what you go for, and really you should be buying it if you would be happy using it once you have access to it, but don't be in the mad scramble after the reprints hit. Be ahead of that crowd and think in that way, in my opinion. Pot of Prosperity is another card I'm kind of scratching my head over, but we're in that off season where things cooled down. I would think that a lot more people would be on this, but we see this cycle time and time again, and people don't always learn from history. So this is not going to be reprinted in the Megatins unless there's some huge curveball. I'm not Konami, but yeah, it's not in the sets. Need to sell next year's Megatins, that sort of thing. Could even be in next year's Toon Chaos King's Court, but it's a long way away, most likely from a reprint. And with that, once we hit the next meta season, that road to Worlds, because Konami's starting to talk about regional worlds, those kinds of things, well, I could see this easily becoming 120, 130, and that cap at events, if we actually do get regionals back in the fall, like Konami said in a video, finally, directly from them, you could definitely see people scrambling after this card. And it's in a lot more decks than Extravagance was. Extravagance started pressing that limit, and I think Prosperity is a card you should be paying attention to along with other cards that aren't going to be in the Megatin. So that's today's lesson. I thought I had the one more tab. Be looking around where other people aren't, and be thinking about the cyclical market and how history can repeat itself time and time again. Look where people aren't rather than just, oh yeah, sell this card. Hopefully that lesson rings a little bell and it has you looking around with a different mindset. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. What are you doing if you haven't and you keep coming back here? Like this video if you enjoy the conversation. And also check out that Tier 0 sale. It's a freaking huge one with a lot of really good deals.